We're going to talk about some of the terminology. Everyone here is working with different ERP systems, and some of the terms change. You know, what we call components in product structures or operations. We're going to talk terminology for by design. Okay, we're also going to go through a demo. We're going to look at what we call rule templates. We're going to also see the rules actually execute and output our manufacturing data. And then at the end, I do leave it open for questions and hopefully answers. But if you do have questions during the presentations, please feel free to stop me and we can discuss those. All right, first off, the By Design Configurator supports 2 execution modes for manufacturing rules. Okay, most commonly used is the first one, which is an interactive session. So as a user, when you launch Configurator and you see the first question and you're answering it and moving from question to question, seeing your validation work, and seeing your pricing calculating, you can also be running the manufacturing rules in this interactive mode. Like I said, majority of our client base do use this interactive mode. One of the big benefits of the interactive mode is if your company works in a cost plus pricing situation. You know, I can build that structure. I can see how much does it actually cost me to manufacture this item and then apply my upcharge to that so my end customer gets a valid price. The second method that we have, the execution method, is a post-configuration process. This is actually done after all of your interactive rules, which are your pricing, screen questions, validation, all of this has been processed and control is returned back to your calling system. We do what we call an asynchronous call behind the scenes to run these post-configuration rules. We do have some clients who are taking advantage of this, mostly in the MacPack ERP area and the NAV ERP area. Sightline at this time does not support the post configuration, and I know we have some Sightline users on our conference today, but they do not use it at this time. Alright, the By Design Configurator includes capabilities to create and execute manufacturing rules. These capabilities include the generation of bill of materials, routings, which can comprise of operation and work instructions. Sometimes tell people to think of work instructions as comments. Also, we have the ability to do manufacturing details. Okay? With the introduction of being able to do manufacturing in the By Design Configurator, we added 5 new rules when manufacturing was added to the By Design Configurator. Those rules are the BOM component rule or manufacturing rule. And here I'll try to be consistent and I will call it a BOM component rule. We have what we call a material rule, an operation rule, the work instruction rule, and finally the manufacturing detail rule. Okay, that first rule, when I said I'd be consistent, I'm just going to call it a BOM component rule. This is the configured item being manufactured. So when I look at my rule structure, you know, I work on the help desk. If I dial into your system, need to help you debug an issue. If I see a BOM component rule, I know that that is the level or the point where you're actually generating a configured manufacturing order for a configured job. Material rules, okay? These are going to be the materials that I'm going to use to manufacture that configured item. Okay, material rules could be raw materials, they could be purchase part, or any type of non-configured manufactured subassembly. Operation rules. Okay, these are going to define the operation description, work center, piece rates that we're going to use in building the product. Okay, we do have an attribute for the operation rule called operation type. Okay, that we can pass back in from the configurator to that ERP system. The operation type is actually going to be controlled by your host system. So if you have overlapping operations and it's a code, let's say I have a code 7, okay, in my operation rules I would define it as a 7. When it's passed back into that host ERP system, it would understand how to process that operation rule. My next rule is what we call work instruction rule. These are comments that are going to be associated to each operation. I might have one comment, I could have 25 comments, but these are going to be assembly instructions that I'm going to give to the shop floor to instruct them how to build my configured item. The last rule we have for manufacturing is what we call a manufacturing detail rule. This is similar to a comment or an assembly instruction, okay, but the difference between a manufacturing detail to a work instruction rule is the work instruction rule is related directly to an operation, where a manufacturing detail rule is for the overall manufacturing order or job being created. So it's not directly related to a specific operation. All right, also with the introduction of the manufacturing rules and each ERP system being different and how they generate manufacturing orders, jobs, or production orders, we came up with this concept of a rule template. Okay? A rule template is going to be a group of attributes. Okay? These are going to be things, as it's pointed out up there, like your description of your operation, piece rate. On a material rule would be your quantity per. Now we have two types of attributes. We have system attributes, which are the ones when you install the ByDesign configurator. These are things that we've looked at across multiple ERP systems that are common attributes to manufacturing outputs. And then we allow for user-defined attributes. And these are going to become more ERP specific. And I've listed there the 3 ERP systems that we are embedded: Sightline, MacPack, and Nav. Okay, with these user-defined, we do have scripts that can be run at installation time to create the standard attributes used by those systems. And then, after the initial install, you as the user can add additional attributes. Okay, some of the properties for the attributes, okay, that I'm going to be able to set in the rule template are default values. I may have an attribute that doesn't work with my system, so I have the ability to disable that attribute. I have another attribute. Let's say for Sightline is a required, but for MacPack is not. I have the ability to say, hey, before the user is able to save the definition of this rule, they have to populate this particular attribute. The last property of an attribute would be the description. We allow the user to populate this so that it gives them more detail. What am I trying to put in there? All right, as I stated earlier, the rule templates is what's going to drive these manufacturing rules. And they're basically going to be a group of attributes. All right, and the attributes can be used to determine general information, like I stated earlier: part number, quantity per, operation descriptions. Okay, examples of ERP specific information: job description for Sightline. Like I said, when you run that script, this job description attribute would be created. MacPack, okay, a consumption code. What do I want to do with this material? Do I want to consume it, or do I want it to be a byproduct? Okay, that would be a ERP specific. Nav, they have one called a production BOM, which basically says, this part am I pulling in, is it an actual material or is it a phantom part? That would be determined by the production BOM attribute. Okay, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to flip over to one of our development environments here and look at the ByDesign Configurators Design Studio so we can actually look at these rule templates. I would also like to go through and just execute the rules, showing how they work,